What is up, everybody? It is Alex from Heavy New York calling from the quarantine zone again, and this time we are here with Generation Underground. Thank you guys for being here. It's great to have you here.
Yeah.
Pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
It's great to be here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's super awesome to have you here. I was just listening to Cold Blooded Volume 1. The EP is absolutely awesome. Being that this is an EP, I've always said that an EP is like a good representation of the band, but, it's not a full-length album. Could this maybe serve as like a clear representation of the direction that Generation Underground is going into?
Definitely. The real truth is that there's another half of it that's done. It's just we broke it up in half because people don't seem to have the attention span to listen to 10 straight songs in one setting. So we decided breaking it in half would be a better kind of indication of how to release it. But the only problem is there's no real reason to release a record currently during a pandemic because people have more important things to worry about, and it's kind of hard to release something you can't tour behind as well. So
yeah.
So
so like with the Cold Blooded Volume 2 coming out, or if the plan to release it, like, do you think it's just going to be a continuation of Volume 1? It's not like the context of it's going to be any different, or the sound's going to be adjusted or anything like that?
It's definitely in the same vein because we wrote it all at the same the same time period. We just kind of we didn't want to front load one of the EPs. We wanted to kind of even them both out just so that they both would be like listenable all the way through. Yeah. And since there are only 5 songs each, I wanted to make sure that everyone enjoyed both of them. It definitely is like a continuation of our sound. Like there's one song that we have on that has Pablo from Chelsea Grin on it. That's definitely a new step, like in a heavier direction for us that we're taking a shot with. So I think people will be very excited when it does come out. I just personally don't know when it's going to come out because I don't know anymore. But I think it definitely, it ties... the whole record is like, it should be looked at more as like a cohesive, like one piece of a record, not necessarily like 2 parts. Because it was supposed to come out in 2019, like in the fall as like a whole record. But our shitty manager we had at the time decided to tell us, no, that was not a good idea. And then push and tug for 6 months. And then they just didn't like it. They were like, oh, we like it. And then they just turned around, Alex, and they were just like, we don't like this at all. And we want you guys to be an emo rap band now. We're like, what are you talking about? They're like, yeah, we're going to turn this into emo rap. And I'm like, fuck you people. So we just, this record's been delayed enough. And I feel bad for the people that want more music from us because we're tired of sitting on the damn thing. Like this record's been done since June 2019. Like it's been a long time we've been sitting on this record.
Yeah, well, it'll definitely be worth the wait because I feel like the EP had a lot. The first, Cold Blooded Volume 1 had a lot to offer, even with just 5 songs. And like I've always thought that like your music was relatively experimental. I mean, like I do see like some techno elements, like technical elements in there, some elements that are atmospheric. Like do you guys ever start the songwriting off with like a preconceived idea, or would you say maybe there's kind of like a lot of trial and error with the sound that you're trying to go for?
Me and Matt have been writing music together. I can't believe it's been 4 years like this year, but it depends on each song. Like like some of our biggest songs we've written within like under an hour, and some of them have taken months to finish and they don't sound as good. So I think we kind of go in there with the general idea of what we want to do, but we kind of leave it a little bit open. We don't want to like to box ourselves in definitely to like one specific style, and just wherever the song takes us is kind of wherever it goes. So, I think it's more of like we come with a couple riffs, put them together, and then it does help that we have Chris Penny from Dillinger Escape Plan playing drums and bass on the records, and he's been producing the 2 records we have, so that kind of helps to have someone who's toured for 15 years and did Coheed and has done plenty of other projects to kind of sit there and help us morph the songs as well.
Yeah, and doesn't get more New Jersey than that when you have the Dillinger Escape Plan helping you out.
It's true.
Yeah. Now, in terms, is there ever something that does have to come first with the songwriting? Is there anything that kind of ties it together? Do you ever start off with like, is it very guitar driven? Is it very rhythm driven? Is there like a time where concepts or a vocal line can maybe determine the outcome of the sound as well?
I mean, from what I can remember, I mean, almost all of our songs start from just basic, just me just kind of playing around on guitar. I don't usually try to write things. It's just kind of more just me practicing or playing something. And then I'm like, oh, I like that. So I track it. And then I kind of, figure out like a BPM to it and kind of build it out. And like we'll jam on it. And then, but it does change from song to song. Sometimes I'll have a lyric idea that I want to get out. And then I know like, all right, like this is more angry and pissed off. So I want to write this one a little bit heavier and faster. Or this one's more melodic. So I want to make it a little bit more mid to slower tempo kind of thing. So it depends a lot. Let's just put it that way. It definitely depends.
Yeah. Anybody else want to add to that, John or Matt? Like anything with the songwriting as well?
Yeah, we usually just have a riff. Someone will come up with something. Like, Why, for example, one of our songs, it was just like I had the main riff, and then Mike had the breakdown riff that he wrote a while ago, and then we kind of just put it together, and he wrote lyrics for the whole song, and then that was pretty much. But the drums were based on top of that.
We really wrote that song in like, I'm not kidding, like 30 or 40 minutes. Like it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so simple, but it works, and it's, our best, or not even say our best song. It's our most popular song by a landslide, and it even won an award last year. It won some, I'm looking at it right now, Academia Music Award for Best Rock Song in February 2020. So,
yeah, some website.
Never thought I'd ever win an award in anything with music, let alone something.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty epic. And does like we talked about it like revolving around a preconceived idea or something like that, but like I'd imagine there's also like a lot of happy accidents that evolve in your sound, being that you all incorporate many different elements, right?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, like, we all listen to totally different things. Like Matt's more into like rock and like, I mean, you could kind of explain this one better than I can, Shush. But like, you're more into like,
yeah, I don't even like listen to heavy music at all. Like the first, I mean, other than like System of a Down was probably the only heavy band I really listened to, and like Metallica, if you count that. But like, I don't know, I listen to more rock and indie, whatever that, and like punk and stuff. And then Mike, you like all the metal stuff, and you also listen to a lot of rap music, and John too. So like we kind of just blend that.
Me and John love our deathcore and our hip hop.
Yeah, we love all that heavy stuff.
Yeah, Chelsea Grin, Lorna Shore. God, what the hell was that shit we were listening to a couple days ago? Yeah, Thy Art Is Murder.
Brand
Parkway Drive.
Shadow of Intent. Did you ever listen?
Was that the one I was listening to? I've listened to them. Is that John? Was that who I was listening to a few days ago? Oh no, it was Impending Doom. No, it was Impending Doom. That's who it was.
Yeah,
it was Impending Doom with Murderer. Sorry.
Yeah,
nice.
Shadow of Intent is like the band like you need to get on board with. Like they're insane. Like,
okay.
I remember listening to the Reclaimer album in 2017, and I like found it absurd that like other humans made this stuff. Like,
yeah.
Isn't the one guitar player in Shadow of Intent in like Currents or something like that?
Yep, Chris Wiseman.
Okay.
Yep. That guy's a talented motherfucker.
John, how much Currents I played you in the car when we're out
You play
doing
Currents
the
at least 3 times a day.
Dude, I fucking love Currents. That band sound, but it's metalcore with gent, but like the choruses are like radio rock style, but they're not so cheesy. Like it's like heavy as shit, but the dude could sing so well.
I call them the American Parkway Drive. That's how I look at them. I mean,
I never thought about that.
That's a fair reference, yeah.
Yeah. And because you played with like, I know that you like shared the stage with like Attila and Chelsea Grin, but you also played with Cattle Decapitation, which, believe it or not, they do kind of have like a different sort of like audience. Like Cattle Decapitation is more, like very, very old, has like a very old school death metal audience that follows them. They playing with like a Morbid Angel or a Cannibal Corpse or something like that. Then you playing with like a more deathcore oriented audience. Have you noticed like different reactions to your music, or maybe different types of audiences when you are depending on like the bills that you've been on?
I mean, the most interesting one, and Matt definitely will agree with you on this, was playing rap shows. They seem to, I mean, they're hit or miss, but when they are a hit, they
They
love us.
love it.
These
Yeah.
they love it. I think because they're just so, I think they're a little bit less, like, they're more open minded, and they're just like, I think it was like a rhythm, and there's like some rapping in it. I feel like they really kind of they really dig it.
Yeah.
But like,
they love like we play like Limp Bizkit or something at like
or like
a
Rage
cover.
Against the Machine.
Yeah, and they go crazy for that. They love that. Like they love it more than some metal bills that we've played on. It was kind of cool, but
I think the hardest thing we've done, Alex, is play like those bands that were like really big like 20 years ago, like those kind of bills, because those audiences have been so phased out over the years that people are like, they're only there for that band. That's it.
Right.
Like we've done like the deathcore shows, and we did Summer Slaughter 2 years ago for 3 dates, and surprisingly, being relatively the only band with cleans and with no triggers on stage, they not only loved us, everyone in all the staff treated us extremely well. It went over super well. Like we came on before Brand of Sacrifice every day, and we don't sound anything like Brand of Sacrifice, but everybody loved it. By like, I think it was by the last day of the tour, Cattle Decapitation's tour manager was buying merch off of us. That's how much
awesome.
he liked us.
That's awesome. That's really cool. And well, you know, kind of like playing the rap shows, I've noticed that like the future does seem. I've had this conversation with a lot of bands. Maybe you all can elaborate on it. Like that the future almost seems to be genreless. Like I remember when I was at Louder Than Life in 2019, Ice Cube went on before Godsmack and Guns N' Roses, and before that it was like all rock bands or really really heavy bands. Like Hailstorm was on that day. You know, there was a lot of real heavy bands like Melvins were playing. So it almost seems like, and the audience didn't change their reaction at all. Like people were still moshing, going crazy. I saw Vane open up for Ghostmane, which was pretty diverse.
I love Vane. Vane's amazing, and same with Ghostmane too.
Yeah, so it seems like there's been a lot of gaps that have been closing in the different music genres. Am I wrong?
No, I definitely agree with you. I definitely think the thing I'm learning is I feel like a lot of rappers, even though they might make rap music, some of them are into heavier shit. Like I've seen a lot of guys into metal and deathcore and a whole bunch. You know, like I know like Little Uzi was at a fucking Lorna Shore show and he was moshing, and then, you know, Travis Scott had Manson at Astro World Fest before he got canceled. And, you know, like, you know, I feel like the less kind of like borders between the genres is better for everybody, especially for like the metal and hard rock community, just because like we're always kind of like the redheaded stepchild anyway. It's like any bit of attention we can get that's in like a good light is good for everybody.
Yeah, definitely. And I can see you playing, and it almost seems like you're able to, it goes back to your sound too. I think that like I can't pigeonhole Generation Underground in metal. I can't generalize it in like, you know, hip hop or deathcore or metalcore. It just seems like you're able to go along the spectrum a lot, right?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think a lot of people are a little intimidated sometimes to take some risk, and we've always talked about like taking risk and stuff. And like, for example, like we're working on new music now, and like the new stuff we're working on is pretty pissed off. It's a lot heavier. It's tuned lower, and you know the thing we've learned is we want to always evolve our sound. We don't want to stray too far from it. We don't want to be Linkin Park and go from Meteor to Minutes to Midnight and just go a complete 180. That's not what I want to do. I don't want to throw people for that kind of loop of like, it's fucking sold out. This is a bunch of posers now. Like I don't want to do that. I want to keep it true to what it is, but I also want to, you know, I want to incorporate new things. And, you know, the number one thing in the day, Alex, is if the audience doesn't like it, then we shouldn't be writing what they don't want to hear. We should be writing what they kind of want to hear, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the audience does influence a lot of your songwriting process.
I would say so. I mean, people seem to kind of vibe with, you know, the harder we've tried for slower stuff. People keep begging for heavier stuff. So we're just like, all right, if this is what the audience wants, the audience is going to get what they want. So, you know, we always try to keep a couple songs a little bit more experimental / like accessible that we could use to kind of push a new avenue with like radio or something like that. But the audience over the years we seem to fit better with the metal shows than we do with the rock shows. So we just kind of write just more towards that audience.
Mm-hmm.
Plus our shows are very high intensity energy wise anyway.
And that leads me. There was one more question I wanted to ask actually before we get into the live presence. But do you feel that because you incorporate all these elements, that trying new things is like it's a no-brainer for trying new things in Generation Underground, right? It almost seems like experimenting and pushing boundaries is almost just part of the songwriting process to the point where you don't think about it anymore, right?
Yeah, and I also think that the more that me, Matt, and John write, practice, jam, like the better musicians we become, and then the songs kind of get crafted better and better. And we've also been writing with other people. Like we have plenty of friends that play guitar, and we'll write a whole song. Like, hey, like, what's your thoughts? Like, can you add a lead? And can you do a solo? Like, we just had our friend Brett do a solo on one of our songs, and as both of them and I were listening to it, just going like, holy shit, like we can't play this. This is fucking amazing though. This is making that song just that much better. So, I think for us, it's like to not put us in a box is the number one thing. And then number two, to kind of like not be afraid to hear the criticism from people, but like in a constructive way to kind of take the songs and make them stronger than they are than what we've already thought of at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that led me into my final question, and I kind of want to hear all three of you sort of like elaborate on this. But when it comes, because I do consider, Cold Blooded to be very high energy music, regardless of what style it is. And do you almost put like a similar energy into your live presence as you do when you are songwriting, or do you consider to be songwriting and playing live almost two completely separate arts altogether?
I mean, they're kind of together, and then they're kind of not at the same time. I mean, like, obviously when we're writing the songs, we do have it in mind that we're probably going to play it live. So we just, there's definitely never been a song that we've written and like, oh, we're never going to play this live. So it doesn't matter. Like, we're always thinking about the live show. And, the thing about us with the live show is like, it doesn't really matter if it's 330 or 300 people or 30,000. Like, we want to give everyone what their money's worth. And, people, getting them in a room and getting their attention's hard enough. I might as well give them their money's worth for the half hour or however long we're up there for. So I think and for me, like, being into a lot of bands with a lot of high energy up there, we watch someone like Korn just is in their fucking late 40s, early 50s, and they just go just as hard as they did 20 years ago. Like, that's like, we're like, all right, like, might be bad for my back in 10 years, but like that's how hard we want to go up. We want to give everyone, a good show, no matter what.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else want to chime in on that?
Well, I mean, I drum in the band, so I mean, like live, it's like two separate things, I think, like songwriting and playing live. Because I mean, live we're just there to play, and like songwriting, like I play guitar and stuff, I play bass, so I don't do that live, so I only contribute that when we're like in the garage, or I'll send Mike a riff or something that I wrote that I came up with or something at home, and then he can work with it and do whatever he does. That's like what we did for Y, really. Like I sent you a bunch of riffs. I don't think we used most of them, but one of them was
one of them was that main riff. The more I think about it,
yeah.
One of them was.
Yeah, and then that's just how we do it,
And the final question I wanted to ask you is regarding the New Jersey metal scene, because working with Dillinger Escape Plan, as I said, that it doesn't get more New Jersey than that, and I feel like there's always a lot of great bands in New Jersey. Shout out to my friends in Dead City Crown, Sicarian, great tech death band. A lot of great different styles have come out of New Jersey, from El Nino to Dillinger Escape Plan to My Chemical Romance. So has there been kind of like, obviously, a pre-pandemic world, has there been like a good scene that you guys have been associated with, or is the goal for Generation Underground to sort of branch outside of the New Jersey scene a little bit?
I would kind of say leading up to the pandemic, we didn't quite fit in too well with the scene, but there's been this podcast we just went on. They're called Metal Antics. They've been interviewing all the bands in New Jersey that they've had.
They're awesome.
Monument of Memory on. They've had Sentinels on. They had us on. They had Across the White Water Tower. They had Lorna Shore. I think that guy, Chris, his name is Chris Warner. I think he's really trying to get everybody to kind of come together, because look, there is a good scene here, and like we've had great bands, you know, Il Nino, 40 Below Summer, God Forbid, My Chem. I mean, I guess you could throw Bon Jovi and Springsteen in there too, like, you know, and Overkill. Like you've had a lot of good, and Dillinger. Like you've had a lot of good bands and artists come out of New Jersey, but I feel like it definitely needs to be more of like a community, because it always seems like everyone's always trying to overstep each other. But I feel like with us and like Monument of Memory and Adventures and Oceans of Illusion and Sentinels and the Crossway Water Tower. I mean, they're not from New Jersey; they're from Rockland County, New York, but they're close enough. I feel like with all of us as like a whole, I feel like if everybody, and then like the Mike Monto and Drifter, like I feel like if everybody cohesively kind of works together, and we're going to need to after the pandemic either dies down or goes away, because, you know, like we've watched so many clubs like the Revolution closed down in Long Island already, and the Chameleon clubs moving, and One Center Square's not doing heavy shows anymore, and just like, you know, definitely going to need the bands to be like, hey, like we're going to, you know, take everybody together, and we're going to go do this, you know, we're going to slug this out together and try to, you know, pack in these shows to keep everybody afloat for a little while.
House shows are going to be cool again.
Yes, they will be. Totally will be.
Basement shows. I cannot wait for that.
Yeah, we've done one basement show. It was a new metal night. It was New Metal Halloween 2018, and we dressed up as Slipknot.
Okay.
And that was awesome. The people in the audience were like, "What are you guys gonna do?" I go, "You watch." And we opened the show up with Iowa, the song, and people were like, "Huh?" I was like, "Yes, that was the whole point, was the shock value."
Yeah.
And there was another band that did Deftones, one did System of a Down, one did Linkin Park, and then everyone's just like, "This is awesome." I go, "Yeah, this is awesome." And they have not had it since then, which is not awesome. So we got to bring back house shows, and stage diving and house shows.
And it seems like new metal though is sort of like coming back. I've even had a joke. I've been calling it newer metal, so Nuer, because like, you know, you've been seeing kind of like that rap and. You've seen that sort of like a rap and metal sort of hybrid come back again, and you kind of see like a lot of that happen. But people make fun of new metal all the time, but think about how many stadium like bands came out of that genre: System of a Down, Slipknot, Disturbed, Korn, Linkin Park, Deftones, Limp Bizkit. Like it, and it's been a gateway band. I know people who started off with Limp Bizkit and now they're listening to Aborted. So
yeah. Everybody always hates on Limp Bizkit, but like even like everyone's like, "Oh, fuck Fred Durst." I'm like, here's the thing: besides Fred Durst and his lyrics, the rest of that band is super talented.
I think Fred Durst
like the
has
riffs
great.
They wrote were always great.
Yeah, and Fred Durst is a great front man. I mean, Limp Bizkit. It just look at the name Limp Bizkit. That's a band that clearly likes to be controversial and try to, you know, give people the middle finger here and there. And you could say what you want, but that's what they do, and you get what you pay for. So,
and the crazy thing is, Alex, that all the shows I've ever been to my entire life, my favorite concert was Limp Bizkit. I saw Limp Bizkit in Camden in 2018, and that was war in the fucking pit. I mean, it would, from the minute they stepped on stage and Fred goes out there during Hot Dog, and then break stuff drops, and then just the whole fucking place looked like Woodstock for like 10 minutes straight.
That's awesome.
It's just ridiculous.
That's awesome. Couldn't be exactly like Woodstock because you remembered most of it, but yeah.
Yeah, I remember it, and there wasn't bonfires and plywood and people fucking running for their lives.
Acid.
Yeah.
So before we go, I want to thank you all so much for being here today. Is there just anything else that you would like to promote, like when we could be expecting Cold Blooded Volume 2, and anything else with Generation Underground you all would like to plug?
Well, we've
no shows right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're planning on going, since there's nothing here, and my buddy Balako had it perfect. He goes, "There's no Contact concert." I was like, you know what? I like that. I'm like, that's what I want. I want a Contact concert. But that's not going to happen anytime soon. So we are currently trying to put together a 3-day weekend run in Florida this summer, just because they're open down there and we are dying to get back on stage. So look out for us going to Florida this summer. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that'll happen. Cold Blooded Volume 2 should be coming out this year. And if it doesn't come out this year, there'll at least be a single or two that will come out this year. That I'll guarantee you. So look out for Our Betrayal featuring Pablo Viveros from Chelsea Grin. That's going to be a great one. And we're working on new music that'll be coming out next year. And you guys have no idea what you're in store for. That shit is going to melt your fucking face off. It really will.
We look forward to hearing it. Thank you guys so much. Everybody, we are here with Generation Underground. Be sure to check out Cold Blooded. This is Alex from Heavy New York. We'll see you next time.